We are a team. As storytellers and dreamers,
there is always magic to discover.
Once upon a time,
a Las Vegas showgirl
and a comedian magician,
figured out that even with different perspectives,
our adventures and experiences together
are really just
one
big
caper. Alrighty, welcome back to One Big Caper. I'm Athena, this is my partner Phelyx, and we are both entertainers in our own ways, and we are doing this podcast to basically give you a peek to our inside conversations.
It's difficult to see the forest through the trees, and we realize that we're kind of foreign creatures. Yeah.
So today's topic is really, I don't know, burns me up a lot. I don't know.
It's a passion topic.
Yeah. Phelyx thinks he's not going to have much to say on the topic, but we will see as we dive in, because again, this is unscripted. So here we go. Paying for entertainment. What does that even mean? All right. So this topic, this whole episode was inspired by a Yelp review I saw recently. Phelyx had a show, and I had never heard of this venue before, so I thought, let's do some research on the venue. And the very first review I see on their review page was a 1-star awful review, and it just irked me.
There's a reason for that. This was my first time at the venue. I think it's a new-ish place, conversion.
I think it's just being run differently or something like that.
They're experimenting with hosting comedians and bands and just kind of seeing what the local crowd digs. Mm-hmm. And Athena decided to check out the Yelp reviews and discovered that the top of the list was a negative review. I wasn't deterred because of the content of the review.
You weren't deterred?
It didn't bother me at all to go perform at that venue, but that's what we're getting into.
Yeah, no. I wasn't worried about going into this venue. I just thought maybe the local people might be a little bit difficult.
And they were.
That's a
different story.
Yeah. Yes. Phelyx will share that probably to his coffee club someday.
Yes.
We have video evidence of the difficulties. Anyway, so here I'm going to read the review. This is Joe E. And his review was $20 cover to see local bands who never ever had any cover charge at any other locations. No bear prices listed online, just a total ripoff from the gentrification of Louisville. Louisville, Colorado is kind of a little small town up north.
It's near Boulder.
Near Boulder. I'm sure you've heard of Boulder. All right. Great for rich Boulder types and trust funders, not for music fans who work for a living. It gives you kind of a little insight to Joe E.'s life. Outrageous. Louisville used to be cool, fun, and affordable. Not anymore. Good thing there is zero cover at most other venues and brew pubs when they have music. If the bands were big national touring acts, I would understand. This makes me sick. What makes me sick is Joe E.'s assumption that people that make music, whether they're big national touring acts or not, don't deserve to be paid. That makes me even more sick than his misunderstanding as a non-performer. But he's a working person, so he should know that if he ever walked into work and didn't expect to be paid, I think somebody's head would roll, right?
Oh, you mean if his employer did not pay him?
Yeah, if his employer didn't pay him to do anything off the clock, I think that would make him sick.
This is rooted in an unfortunate and very common perception that artists don't get paid, or it's absurd and it's weird. Artists shouldn't charge for what they do is what it comes down to, and of course we disagree.
Yeah, didn't Michelangelo get paid to paint the Sistine Chapel?
Yes. by contract with the church.
Yeah. So I think it might have to do with just our culture in general and the starving artist stigma. I think I'm not sure who started it, when it started, where it started, but it really has taken a toll on performers in this country.
Yeah, it's coming around a little bit, and yes, there has been some recent gentrification, as Joe puts it, to that area of Colorado. It is happening all over our state of Colorado. But is it gentrification as much as it's education or coming to terms with the fact that that band, the drummer is always the worst off because that's 6 trips to a car, right?
Right.
They work hard. It's work, and they practiced, and they didn't get paid to be in their practice space and rehearse, and they didn't get paid to take lessons to learn the instrument. They didn't get paid for the time it took to, if they're a cover band, to be able to cover a song, or if they have original work, they didn't get paid for that either. So Joe, you gotta get $20 out, and if you don't, you should tip. If you don't have to pay a cover, tip. One thing I will tell you, Joe, also, is that we discovered that the drinks at that bar are
absurdly cheap,
affordable. So you're not being overcharged for the beverages, which places downtown, for example, would be twice what this venue is charging.
Yeah. I actually was funny because they did comp our drinks because he was performing there, and I didn't expect that at all. They actually had non-alcoholic beer that I hadn't tried before. Of course, most people have Heineken, but this was an incredible non-alcoholic IPA. It tasted
on tap, right?
No, it was in a can, and
okay.
it comes from Connecticut. I can't remember the name, but that was only $6.
Yeah, that's
I
very
paid
reasonable for
$8 to $10 for a non-alcoholic drink.
especially in a venue. I can tell you, Comedy Works, for example, has a 2-drink minimum on top of the ticket price for a show.
Yep. Yeah. So
and it's a $17 Coke if you want to be non-alcoholic. It's ridiculous.
And so it just it just fired me up. I got really upset. This just happened last week, so I was like, we have to do an episode about this. I wonder where people get off on assuming that entertainment should be free.
It's kind of a mystery, but that's one of those things that, as entertainers for our entire careers, we can't understand it. It's impossible for us to wrap our heads around why people think it should be free.
Yeah, entertainment is not a volunteer job.
No, it's a career.
It's a career.
For us, it has been a career. It's the only way I earn any income.
Yeah.
I will tell you, and I knew that this subject was going to come up in this episode, but I will tell you that even that evening, not long before the show, I received a text message that I ignored from someone who wondered if I could comp them into the show. I like to support my friends. I like when my friends want to come see me, but I hear all the time, hey, I want to come out and support you when you're performing. Let me know when your next show is. Most often, I'd say 95% of the time, they don't show anyway. But if you want a free ticket, I really don't know how that's supporting me. If I have a chair I can sell to somebody else, then that's the opposite of supporting me.
Right.
And I love when people come see me, but this is how I make my living, so I can't really give things away. And very often, as was in this case, I was offered a guarantee from the house, so I did not expect to get any comps or anything. It wasn't about filling seats. I don't know what else I can say about that. I just didn't expect that the theater would say, here's a comp. They did have Athena with me, and but she helped. She was working. She helped with carrying stuff and filming. And
I did a video and documentation. That's important.
It is.
Yeah, on that note, when you're saying, people say I want to support you, I'm curious what they think of support as is just filling space, like you said, or, do they think that applause is like, good job, you did great?
There are
Is that
ways
supportive?
that,
I
right,
mean,
that it can be. I guess emotional support is maybe what is the mentality there.
yeah.
There are ways that you can support without spending money, in terms of just
Yeah.
telling people about the show.
Yeah.
Hey, my buddy Felix is doing a show. It's coming up.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. That's a
Go
wonderful way.
go
And,
see a show.
and
Yeah,
cheap.
sharing it on social media.
Yeah.
That's free. That
Or
takes 2 seconds.
the way we started, Yelp. You could Yelp about
Give reviews.
your experience with your bands, or certainly I'm on that platform, or Google
Yelp,
My Business,
Google
or
My
whatever.
Business.
Yeah, so the reviews definitely are an inexpensive way, free, to support artists. So.
Social media sharing.
And valuable. Yep.
And yeah, that's another way to support without spending any money.
Mm-hmm.
But, entertainers, this is what burns me so much. Entertainers haven't worked for 2.5 years. Most entertainers.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to see that there might be something wrong when big artists or big actors and actresses are doing commercials and ads. There's something wrong here, because celebrity endorsements went away a long time ago as part of a celebrity dollar. Like, it wasn't a thing for a good 20 years. Maybe in the 80s it was a big deal, but then it went away. And now it's coming back, and I think it's just because they were like, I didn't make 20 movies this year, or I didn't perform on Broadway for however long. So, why are we going to ask people that have been the most down and out during this tough time in our world's history for free, like for freebies? Why would we do that? Last summer, on my Showgirls road trip, I probably could have asked one of my guests to see her show for free, because I did interview a young showgirl legacy woman, and her mother and her grandmother, who are all showbiz.
That's legacy.
Yeah, that's a legacy
That's
right
awesome.
there. I could have asked her, hey, can I come see your show? Can I get tickets to your show? I could have, but I refused. I refused to do that because I didn't feel right about it. I didn't feel that was, even though I knew that the producer, super awesome producer, paid them during that time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like, I would love to work for that woman. And I've heard she's an amazing producer. So, but out of the principle of the fact, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't ask. I did, however, see Legends in concert, I think is what it's called, at the Tropicana. But I was just a tag along. I didn't ask for the tickets. They were given to us by a former company manager for Hello Hollywood Hello. So there was that. I still felt bad. I felt really bad sitting in the audience watching for free when I knew these kids had just come back after, I think it was, I think they'd only been back for 2 weeks, and it had been 1.5 years since they had performed. So
Yeah.
it was, I still felt bad, but I was like, you know what? The audience is not full, because there was still, people still wearing masks, people still freaked out. What are we doing? It's, beginning of summer last year, and we were still unsure about a lot of things. I think the vaccine had just come out a few months earlier. And so, I did my best to support and cheer, because you could tell, like I could tell as a performer, it had been a while. They weren't in their like top form, but, I still felt bad, because I know, living with this man who 100% of his income comes from entertaining, and the turmoil he went through as being, number one, a male, number two, just, supporting the family, or having to do other things to support the family. It was hard to see. So I am just hoping that this episode can change your mind if you were thinking that, oh, because I have entertainment friends or friends in entertainment or in showbiz, I deserve free tickets or I deserve to see them for free.
It's a nice perk. I don't want to say no, but there are other ways that you can support. And if you get a free ticket to a show, sometimes there are occasions where we are low on ticket sales, but having a larger crowd does add a lot of energy and benefit to a show. The experience is better. So the term we were just talking about, it's called papering an audience, where you invite people to come take up empty seats because you don't want it to look like it's empty. You don't want to have the stigma or sensation that people don't want to see the show. So papering the audience is one last-ditch effort that we would make as a producer of a show.
Yeah, as a producer, and that's a business decision, because it's hard to perform to an empty audience.
It's brutal.
It
I've done
really,
it. It's brutal.
like the one time we did that at Jubilee, it was a battalion, an army battalion that bought out the theater, and there were only 200 of them. So they took up, 4 to 6 rows in the center. So there were like 3, there was 2 aisles, and then there was like that big section. It was like 4 to maybe 8 rows. And there was just so much because, with the acoustics, everything, there's so much fabric everywhere. Everything is soft. So it was almost like there was like the energy died. Yeah. Like it was like you couldn't hear anything because it was so heavy. There weren't bodies and energy filling the space. So, it's really hard to perform for, not a full audience.
It's funny that Athena's talking about 200 people being an empty audience, but that was a large...
Yeah, 1,300 seat
a large theater. So it would seem empty if only 200 people were in the audience.
Yeah. So, there's that aspect. So let's paper the audience. Let's help the entertainers do their best on stage.
It helps the paying customers also have a better experience because of the energy in the room.
Yeah. Right, because they get a show that they paid for. They get what they paid for.
But if you are invited to be part of an effort like this, there are still other ways that you can support. Many entertainers have merch, of course. Bands have record albums or T-shirts or whatever. That's a nice way to support.
Yeah, we
can tip.
Yeah, you can tip. I don't know how you can tip like a live show that's like in a theater.
Some of them I've seen recently have QR codes near the stage so that you can Venmo them.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's a good idea because then you don't have to worry about the cash.
No cash, just
That's cool. Somebody's got a big brain.
I have been offered free tickets. I don't know how to put this. I think we're going to do an entire episode on some of the perks of being an entertainer. Most often my friends, when they have shows, I can't go anyway because I'm also working. But the rare occasion comes about, and I certainly get a lot of privilege in getting backstage passes or sneaked under the ropes or whatever, which is cute and lovely. But there's one experience that comes to mind as I talk about this, and that is that I was given a comp ticket to a show, and I realized that all of the seats were full. So I insisted on standing in the back so that somebody else could just buy the seat that I had, So
Right.
I did stand for the show so that they could sell the seat.
That's lovely. Yeah. Right?
I'm trying to be supportive in any ways. I've bought tickets to shows and been scolded by the entertainers. Oh, you don't have to buy a ticket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come see one of my shows.
Right.
So you have a juicy bit?
I do have a juicy bit. Yes.
It's juicy bit time.
So the reason I'm bringing this juicy bit up is because when we as entertainers do free shows, like if we perform for free, that's generally because the producer can't air quotes, can't pay the performers to do the show. And that's, I believe, only a burlesque thing.
Pretty much.
Some bands, somehow they get paid. They may not get paid as much as they'd like to get paid, but generally bands are paid, usually with drink tickets.
Yeah, they get meal comps. Everybody gets a meal and then a couple of drinks or something. That's very common.
Yeah. And just a small guarantee of some sort. And if you're not sure what a guarantee is, doesn't matter how many tickets are sold, you get this amount, in case that wasn't ever clear. Like Phelyx had his guarantee for his show. Didn't matter if they sold out or didn't.
It could have been an empty house, and I still would have been paid the same.
Yeah. Still had to perform from an empty house, which is really hard.
I've done it. I've performed for staff only.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's brutal. I still have fun.
Yeah, it's just like a dress rehearsal, I guess, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So my juicy bit. The reason I'm saying this again is to invite you to question who is paying for your entertainment. If you're not paying for it, who is? Okay. So I did a show. This was early on in my burlesque career, if you can call it a career. It was early on, and there was a producer in town who was just getting started producing his big shows that he's now Denver famous for. And I said, I don't perform for free. And he was confused because when he asked me to perform, I had just performed for free. But it was one of my last shows that I was going to perform for free, because that's what they say. Go perform with all of the other troops so that you get, what is it? Exposure, right?
Was that an appropriate word in burlesque?
Yeah. So you get exposure. You get exposed to all of the audiences and the producers, and then you'll get booked and you'll get paid to perform. So I said I don't perform for free anymore. And so he said, okay, I can offer you $75, which was the going rate for one burlesque act back, 5 years ago, which I believe was the going rate 20 years ago too.
I don't think it's changed.
No, I don't think it has. Artists are not very business-minded, and that's the biggest problem, I think.
Burlesque is an anomaly in entertainment, and maybe I should propose that we do an episode about burlesque, because we certainly have a lot of experience in it. Like I said, as a business model, is an anomaly, and it's difficult to support the way they do business.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we will, but it will be really hard to do that episode without. Yeah.
Another point that.
I'm still in the middle of my juice.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you had. Okay, go, please.
No, the whole point of this.
Sorry.
Was that I found out on that day not to tell any of the other performers that I was getting paid, because they weren't. None of them. Of the 18 other people on stage that were going to be performing in that big show, I was the only one that got paid. And then I asked, okay, you have a 550-seat theater. Whether it was papered or not, somebody made money. It's his own theater. It's not, he wasn't renting it from somebody else. It's his own theater. So, and there's the bar money. So I'm just like, how can you not pay your entertainers? The people that are doing this work for you. It may be entertainment or art. It's still work for them. It's still a way that they are using their time, their energy, and their talents, if they have any, to put on a show for you. How could you not pay your people? So needless to say, I did not work with this producer very much, because it just didn't feel right to me. So that's my juicy bit. Not using names, but if you are a burlesque person, you probably know exactly who I'm talking about, just by a few key facts that are easily researchable.
I'm sure.
Shady AF. I can say that, right?
I think you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I will add to this with just one little thing that came to mind, and it's been part of a discussion. As you know, we have these discussions all the time, and you are here for a fly-on-the-wall view of yet another discussion that we're having with one another. But one of the points that came up during a previous talk about this subject is that I don't charge by the hour, and it's very difficult for people to wrap their heads around. But it's the fee that I get to perform is not for an hour of work. It is for my last 40 years of getting to this point. I often say when people book me, I'm excited because I've been practicing for your event since 1981.
I love that you say that.
Yeah.
Like, it's brilliant.
I think it's important to remind people that that's how much I'm putting into every time I get to be on stage or in front of an audience. Everything that I've learned since I was a child performer goes into what I deliver on stage.
Well, right. And I think it's hard for employees, people that are employees that get paid per hour to do work. It's hard for them to wrap their heads around. They paid to go to school. They paid for their degrees. They paid, paid their way through school. And then now they are getting paid to use that expertise. Whether they have previous experience in the theater or any arts that helps them with strategic thinking or any creative problem solving, that's a whole other topic. But I think it's really hard for people that are just used to being in an hourly environment. And if you look at it too, perhaps the subscription-based services are the problem with people thinking they just should get shows for free, because they pay a monthly fee to watch as many movies and TV shows as they want. So maybe that's part of the problem, is that people's mindsets about it have been kind of damaged.
A little bit. There's miseducation with other experiences.
Yeah, well, then you can also say like buskers too. They're basically performing for free and hoping people tip. Right?
Sure.
So
we can resent all kinds of, plumbers, electricians, attorneys. We can resent how much they earn, but when you need a plumber bad, it's worth it.
Right?
Then you want somebody who knows what the hell they're doing.
Right.
Same with your doctor
licensed.
or your lawyer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But doctors don't really know what they're doing. They're just practicing medicine.
Some doctors are better than others, but yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they save lives. But
Do I save lives? No.
That's not true.
My work does have importance, and I'm still kind of a humble creature, and I have a hard time wrapping my head around my own importance in the world. But
where did people turn when life, as we knew it, was
when
falling
everything
apart?
stopped for a couple of years?
Where did
we
people
all
turn?
went to the arts. We were all
Entertainment.
Yeah.
Give me something to do. I'm bored out of my mind. I hate my family. I don't want to be around my family.
We didn't
have that problem. These were things I was hearing as I was texting poor people that I was grocery shopping for.
Right. We did turn to the arts.
We all did turn to the arts. So, can art save the world or save lives?
Yes.
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 Yes. So, I think that's a good one.
I think that's good. Yeah.
I think we're good.
Get a hold of us anytime. You can reach us just by messaging below. You can sign up for our list at onebigcaper.com. There's also a way to reach us directly if you have any questions. We love to read that stuff. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks. I didn't get too crazy.
We can't keep doing this without you. Give us just a little bit of your time by subscribing, sharing, rating, or talking about One Big Caper with someone else. We truly appreciate your support.
We want to hear your stories. Visit onebigcaper.com to get to know us even more.
This episode of One Big Caper was published in 2022. All rights to broadcast in whole or in part are the property of Gazellus Productions, LLC.